everyone, and welcome to the Lightning Talk Showcase. So today we will discover many projects during a short period of time, but they are all really interesting, and they show all the diversity of our movement. As you know, the program was really about doing concrete things and discovering other people's experiences. So I really hope that you will enjoy it. I'm Benoit, will be your host for today, and we will start with the first presentation with Laviv.
Before I start, I have a question. How many articles have you written? Do you actually know the number? I did not. One day, out of curiosity, I opened up my contribution page. 470-something. 500 suddenly felt very close. Wikipedia counted every edit. However, it did not celebrate the milestone. No badge, no notification, nothing. So I decided to celebrate it myself. My name is Laliv Gal. I've been editing Hebrew Wikipedia for over a decade, and by day, I'm a social media manager. So I connected those two worlds. Instead of quietly reaching 500 articles, I turned this milestone into a personal project. Every day, I wrote one new article. As soon as it was finished, I started to plan a video about it. Sometimes I shared something interesting about the article. Other times, I just shared something behind the scenes. Every post carried a number, each one closer to 500. Now, let me tell you what actually happened. I did not go viral. I was not invited to television. Some videos received 20 views. Some didn't get a single like. Hours of writing an article, then more time filming it and editing for an audience that could fit around one small table. Still, I came back the next day, and I did it again. Looking back, none of this video looked perfect. Not every day was a good hair day. Sometimes a friend held my phone because I had nowhere to put it. But I kept going. I stopped waiting for perfect. Perfect wasn't the goal. Consistency was. Then something happened. A colleague stopped me at work one day and said, "Wait, what? Do you edit Wikipedia?" That surprised me. Until then, I was convinced that nobody was watching. But apparently, people were watching. That's when I realized something. The project was not about becoming an influencer. It wasn't marketing. It was something much simpler, making my editing visible. People around me suddenly realized that real people write Wikipedia. Even after that, there were days when I almost stopped. Sometimes I honestly asked myself, is anybody interested? Burnout showed up, so did imposter syndrome. Ironically, I was the one who wrote the Hebrew article about imposter syndrome. One evening, I opened up my Gemini, not to write a script or to improve some video. I just asked one simple question. Is it worth continuing? The answer was yes, so I kept going. Looking back, the biggest surprise wasn't the number. Knowing I would explain each and every article publicly changed the way I wrote. It made me check one more source and to think twice before clicking publish. I think visibility creates accountability. So let me finish with the same question I started with. How many articles have you written? If you don't know, maybe check tonight. You might discover you're much closer to a milestone than you think. And if Wikipedia doesn't celebrate it yourself. The videos are still on in my Instagram, so you can scan that and go to my Instagram.
Hello to everyone. My name is Luisina Ferrante. I'm the head of programs at Wikimedia Argentina, and I will be presenting the project about Wikimedia residencies in Torquato Di Tella University, a weird experience from an educational program. This is our first experience as part of the Wikimedia Argentina education program we carry out in partnership with Universidad Torquato Di Tella, with whom we have been working since 2024. The partnership with the university was key for the development of the project. We have some first steps that are really important. First of all, organized partnership meetings with the university to prepare the proposal in December or during December 2025. Then we organized online selection processes in accordance with the university internship criteria during February 2026. And then we select 4 candidates from social sciences and history in March 2026. These are our incredible fellows, and I will present also Felipe Romero Martini. He's a student on the bachelor's degree program in social sciences. Luna Chavez Baile, student on the bachelor's degree program in social sciences and history. Federica Peralta Macchioni, a student on the bachelor's degree program in social sciences. And Valentina Taboada, bachelor's degree in history. The total extension of this experience is about 7 months, between April to October 2026. During the first 13 weeks, we organize sessions to explore Wikipedia, Wikimedia Commons, and Wikidata deeply, and we have support them in the design of each project. We also developed 2 online meetings with people from our community and Wikimedia on residents from other communities in the world. Thank you very much, Diego de la Era from Wikimedia Argentina and Tatiana Valeta from Wikimedia UK. I think that both of you inspire a lot our fellows. Here are some photos of the online and on-site meetings that we organized. And now I will share some key points of the development of their projects and the themes that they choose to work. Felipe will be working with Wikidata, improving information about oil fields in Patagonia, Argentina, and environmental conflicts. Luna will be implementing Wikiclubs about Argentine history at the university. In particular, she will be developing workshops for improving and creating content in the Spanish Wikipedia related with memory sites in Argentina. Federica will be focused on content creation and improvement in the Spanish Wikipedia related with topics about democracy and new rights in Latin America. And Valentina will be working in the release of files in Wikimedia Commons about Argentine architecture to promote the public architecture of Alejandro Bustillo. Okay, to conclude, we believe that these experiences working with university students on these ways allows us to move beyond the context of educational assessment or educational activities, involving them to design their own projects and become part of the local Wikimedia community. Last but not least, this weird experience also helps our fellows to find a personal and a social meaning in the importance of belonging to a community that approaches knowledge for a free and an open perspective. Thank you very much to all.
Thank you very much, Luisina. And now comes on stage Douglas.
Hello everyone, my name is Douglas. I'm from South Africa. I now live in the United Kingdom, but I'm talking about a fun and interesting project that Wikimedia Afrikaans did. I'm also part of a 2-for-1 deal, because after me is Wiki Biodiversity, and I'm going to encourage everyone to join that as well. So, what did Wiki... Oh, gosh, errors. Context. Why was this project started involving plants? Well, South Africa has an extremely high intensity of plant biodiversity. The Cape Floristic region has over 9,000 species in a very small area. And to put that in context, only 7 other floristic areas, kingdoms in the whole world. There's very poor coverage in Wikipedia of plants generally. There are over 350,000 recognized species, different plant species out there, only about 160,000 of which have got some level of coverage on Wikipedia. If you don't believe me, I've got the little chart up there, and it's even less so on other language Wikipedias. In South Africa, specifically, and Africa generally, this coverage is even less extensive. So there was a real need for expanding coverage of plants on Wikipedia generally, and in the South African context specifically. So, what did Afrikaans Wikipedia do about this? That's so interesting. So they firstly set themselves a target, 60,000 pictures of different plant species uploaded, and 10,000 articles to be written about different plant species. They managed to achieve the 10,000 articles at the beginning of this month, so well done to them. And they've uploaded over 21,000 of the photographs so far. It also, they really wanted to make sure that it was taxonomically correct. That's a really big challenge. They want to sort of partner up with more botanical institutions and encourage the rest of the movement to partner up with other botanical institutions and botanists individually, as well as do a whole bunch of technical upgrades for their specific language. And, very importantly, they want to expand this project and encourage others in the rest of the Wikipedia movement in different languages to also do this, contribute botanical articles in Wikipedia. There's a great need for it. How did they do it? Just a quick drill down on the Afrikaans language project. So they were very lucky. They had a project champion in the form of Professor Abraham Erasmus van Wyk, who you can see up there. And they also had a super user on Wikipedia, who Dion Steen, user Oosterjaar, who's unfortunately not here to join me today. But they did a lot of the work here. And part of it was the professor donated his life's work of 60,000 photographs, which are slowly uploading, hence the 60,000 target. And he also agreed to do the taxonomy verification. That really helped. But you know, they can't do it alone. They need more help, and also they can only do it in a small area. There's a great need to do it in other parts of the world. So expanding this, want to create more Wikipedia articles on Wikipedia. Already mentioned that, that's obvious, and in other languages, including English. There's a great need there. A lot more work on Wikispecies. It's a great synergy that can be achieved there with Wikispecies, as well as getting the taxonomy correct for different photographs and commons, and connecting with botanical institutions such as Kew Gardens. A lot of that work has already been begun, both in this project as well as Wikibiodiversity. So again, I encourage you to listen to the folks after me and check the taxonomy and upload. And big surprise, which I managed to sneak in, there is a World Botanical Congress happening in 2019 in Cape Town, South Africa, a city I know I have some connection to. That's happening in Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens. We really want to encourage the sending of a Wikipedia delegation to that Congress, as well as so as to better connect with botanists, and part of that is to connect with the botanical community in preparation for it. And yeah, join Wiki Project Biodiversity. I am going to surrender the rest of my time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Douglas. And we will keep the topic of botany alive with Siobhan.
Hi, I'm Siobhan Leachman, also known as Ambrosia 10, and my co-collaborator standing here is Heidi Might, the Wikimedian and Botanical Curator at Te Papa, the Museum of New Zealand. Now, this talk summarises two presentations previously given in 2026 at the Aotearoa New Zealand Wikicon and also the ESEAP Wiki Conference. Slides and script for this particular presentation can be seen on the link. So, over the last 3 years, Heidi and I, with the help of other Wiki colleagues, have been undertaking an organised effort to encourage thematic experts in botany to contribute to Wikimedia platforms. We undertake outreach with this community at a local, regional and international level, and this presentation is aiming to give you a very quick overview of our project and also to provide a summary of how you might undertake similar outreach efforts to other thematic expert communities. We've collated all our efforts on our Wiki project page. We've also collated a wider variety of resources in the research repository Zenodo. So see the QR code and the links in the slide. So why collaborate? We undertake these outreach opportunities because we want to motivate botanical experts to contribute to Wiki. When attempting to convince these knowledge experts to contribute, we emphasise how they benefit. So botany specialists want to improve access to and the visibility of the subject they are expert in. So we highlight the popularity of Wiki platforms and how they facilitate access to knowledge. We emphasise the reuse of Wiki content and how this can extend the impact of any contributions. We also emphasise other benefits of engaging with Wiki, such as improving digital outreach skills or knowledge of linked open data. We want to increase the botany community's acceptance of Wiki and foster relationships that can lead to further projects. So we've provided a suite of tailored Wiki outreach events and developed customised resources. These opportunities came about as a result of an iterative process. As organisers, over time, we developed skills in recognising potential projects and gained confidence in being proactive, flexible and strategic in our engagement efforts. We recommend starting local before jumping into regional or international engagement. Use a range of outreach methods, both formal and informal, that can be easily adapted to engage with larger groups down to individuals. So, for example, we've used editathons, workshops, conference presentations and posters, journal and newsletter articles, in-person and online meetings, one-to-one and one-to-many tutoring, discussions, emails, social media and DMs. Now, some of the examples of the type of outreach we've undertaken include, for the local level, one-to-one tutoring of botanists at Te Papa, the National Museum of New Zealand, the running of the annual New Zealand Species Editathon in Wellington. On a regional level, for example, we've undertaken outreach at the Australasian Systemic Botanist Conference, and on an international level, we went to Madrid and provided outreach at the International Botanical Congress. If you want to undertake successful thematic outreach, you need to be bold. Think strategically and proactively about reaching out to your thematic communities. Seek all sorts of kinds of support, logistical, funding, in-kind and moral support for this type of work, both from the Wiki community and also from the thematic community you're engaging with. It helps to share the load with co-organisers and other Wikimedians, because collaboration is fun. And remember to actually execute your thematic outreach. It's all very well to plan, but follow through on those plans, even if you have to adapt or modify them. And then repeat. By continuing to engage with the same community at different levels over multiple events, this repeated exposure will itself help the outreach gain momentum. Now, here's just some of the indicators of successful thematic outreach. It's not just about the number of people attending events or the number of edits. With thematic outreach, you're aiming to increase the awareness of, acceptance, trust, and reuse of Wiki by this community as a whole. So, thanks for listening, and please feel free to reach out if you want to learn more.
Thank you for your presentation, Sivan. We are going to switch languages for a presentation in French, conducted by Andrea.
Hi everyone, je suis Angia, leader de la communauté wikimédienne de Madagascar, et ma collègue Mamsou, une de nos contributrices. Aujourd'hui, nous avons le plaisir de vous présenter Wikiten, l'une de nos campagnes nationales qui vise à promouvoir la langue malgache à travers les projets Wikimedia. À Madagascar, nous comptons aujourd'hui près de 33 millions d'habitants. Environ 80% de la population parle uniquement le malgache, notre langue maternelle. Parmi eux, 20% de la population utilise Internet et ce chiffre continue d'augmenter chaque année. Face à cette réalité, nous avons lancé Wikiten, une campagne dont l'objectif est de créer et d'enrichir les contenus en langue malgache sur les plateformes Wikimedia. Cependant, nous étions confrontés à un défi important, le manque de sources fiables et admissibles pour rédiger des articles en malgache. Nous avons donc établi un partenariat avec Global Voices, une organisation internationale également présente à Madagascar qui partage les mêmes valeurs que le mouvement Wikipédia. La première campagne d'éditation en langue malgache a été organisée durant le mois de la langue malgache pendant le mois de juin 2025. Les participants ont travaillé sur des thématiques variées en s'appuyant sur des articles disponibles sur le Global Voices, utilisés comme source de référence. La campagne s'est déroulée dans 4 régions de Madagascar où la communauté est active, la communauté wikipédienne est active à Madagascar. Parmi les participants, on avait eu des wikimédiens, des académiciens, des étudiants spécialisés en langue malgache, ainsi que des groupes d'étudiants. Nous avons observé une véritable relation gagnant-gagnant entre les deux communautés. Pour la communauté Wikimedia de Madagascar, cette collaboration a permis de mobiliser des contributeurs déjà actifs, de valoriser davantage la page Wikipédia en malgache. Et de l'autre côté, Global Voices a vu des contenus utilisés à travers des projets Wikimedia. En un mois, nous avons créé 50 articles et amélioré plus de 125 articles selon les standards Wikipédia. Cette campagne nous a également permis de sensibiliser les acteurs engagés dans la promotion de la langue malgache au rôle que peut jouer Wikipédia dans la valorisation de la langue malgache. Nous avons pu aussi créer et améliorer des contenus fiables, bien documentés et accessibles à tous les malgaches, aussi bien dans le domaine de l'éducation que dans la vie professionnelle. Cela nous a pu ouvrir aussi nos campagnes Wikimedia à la langue malgache en permettant désormais aux contributeurs de participer directement dans leur propre langue. L'impact est déjà visible depuis une année. On a pu créer plus de 3800 nouveaux articles sur la page Wikipédia en malgache. Et au-delà de Wikipédia, nous contribuons aussi sur les projets, d'autres projets Wikimedia. Et au-delà des chiffres, Wikitaigne a montré que contribuer dans sa langue maternelle renforce à la fois l'inclusion numérique et la contribution sur les projets Wikimedia.
Je voudrais ajouter donc concernant Global Voices en tant que membre aussi de Global Voices, les articles de Global Voices peuvent être utilisés comme source secondaire sur Wikipédia parce que nous utilisons également des sources vérifiables et les articles sont passés par des processus de révision éditoriale avant publication. Donc, si vous êtes intéressé par les articles de Global Voices ou vous voulez en contribuer, n'hésitez pas à nous contacter. Je tiens aussi à préciser que les articles sont disponibles en plusieurs langues et aussi couvrent plusieurs thématiques comme environnement, droits humains, LGBT et bien d'autres. Merci pour votre attention.
Misotra, merci beaucoup. We are going to switch to the next presentation by Vechlo, who is invited to come on stage. Then we will move on to the... Okay, here he is. Sorry, we will switch the slides for you. Okay, everything is ready.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Vyacheslav Mamon. I am represented Wikimedia Ukraine. Today, I want to speak about our work with university students on Ukrainian Wikisource. I will describe 3 projects from 2025 and 2026 and explain what we learned from that. Ukrainian Wikisource has developed for many years through the work of volunteers. In 2025, Wikimedia Ukraine created a separate position for Wikisource development for the first time. Since 2026, Nazar Tokar has worked as our Wikisource development manager. He contacts lecturers, presents Wikisource to students, helps them choose suitable books, answer questions, and keeps records of their works. Because one person is responsible for this process, cooperation with university has become easier to organize. We try to connect Wikisource tasks with the course that students are already taking. This is important because students understand why they are working with a particular text. They do not receive a random book. They proofread material related to philology, pedagogy, or dialectology. They work with scanned pages, correct the text, and see the result online. In some courses, their work leads to a complete digital edition that other people can read and use. Our first project was with pedagogy students of the Ivan Franko National University of Lviv. It started in May and June 2025. The students attended a lecture about Wikisource and then write to proofread publications related to education. The project was held during the examination period, so participants was low. Still, one small publication was completed. We repeat the project in December 25 and January 26. 5 students said that they were interested, but 3 of them actually started working. They proofread 146 pages. They later received certificates, Wikimedia souvenirs, and editions course points. The next project looks place in September and October 2025. We worked with third-year philology students in Olena Haleta's textual studies course. After an introductory lecture, each student selected a public domain book. If someone could not choose, Nazar suggested one. The students compared the text with the scanned pages, correct mistakes, and paid attention to old spelling and punctuation. From January to the middle of April 2026, we worked with second-year students at the National University of Kyiv Mohyla Academy. The lecturers were Lyudmila Duka, who teach Ukrainian dialectology. The students proofread the ethnographic collection. This publication contains folklore texts and keeps many dialect words and forms. What we learned, these projects helped us see what works and what creates problems. Students are more active when the text clearly connected with their course. The lecturer also needs to support the task and explain how it will be counted in the course. Students need more than one introduction lecture. They often have questions after they've been working. Certificates and additional points are useful, especially when the task is voluntary. Timing is also important. The project with pedagogy students was much weaker when it took place during exams.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Veslav. Now back to French with Adjovi's presentation.
Bonjour, je suis Adjoe C du projet Harnessing Knowledge to Foster Gender Equality, Wiki, Glam and Gender. Ce projet a été réalisé avec users, MWVH, Adjoe, c'est moi-même, et avec l'appui de T. Capelletto. Pourquoi avons-nous décidé de réaliser ce projet? En fait, il existe de nombreux projets en partenariat avec les GLAM et la communauté Wiki qui promeuvent l'égalité des genres, mais ces projets sont dispersés et difficiles à retrouver. Nous avons donc jugé qu'il était nécessaire de les répertorier pour pouvoir partager également les méthodes utilisées, les défis rencontrés par les communautés, ainsi que leur réussite. Comme vous pouvez le lire à l'écran, nous ne partons de rien, mais nous connectons l'existant. D'où est née cette idée? Cette idée est née l'année dernière à la GLAM Wiki 2025 à Lisbonne, où des discussions entre collègues professionnels de l'information documentaire et également des communautés organisant des activités Wiki ont trouvé qu'il était nécessaire de créer un espace, centraliser les ressources pratiques pour documenter diverses initiatives et collaborations entre les galeries, les bibliothèques, les archives, les musées et les projets Wikimedia. Depuis cette année, qu'est-ce que nous avons fait? Nous avons établi une petite communauté et nous avons organisé des séances de discussion en ligne. Nous avons également eu le temps d'avoir des retours de nos participants, ce qui nous a permis de cartographier les projets qui existent déjà. Vous lirez à l'écran que le travail est en progression. Les réalisations des interviews de Mariana, user MWVH, a permis de faire des entretiens comme vous le voyez à l'écran. Vous pouvez scanner les QR codes pour avoir accès aux interviews disponibles sur DIF. Et donc, elle a interviewé Medavi Gandhi, Michaela Blanc, Philippa Encina, Vic Fisco, Obina Ochem. Vous constaterez également que ces interviews sont particulièrement en anglais et donc nous lançons un appel à toute personne qui voudrait nous aider à soit nous contacter ou à aller directement sur DIF et de pouvoir traduire ces interviews pour une représentativité linguistique. De ces interviews, il en ressort que les partenariats entre les communautés Wiki et les institutions GLAM constituent un levier essentiel pour rendre visibles les initiatives en faveur de la lutte contre le fossé de genre. On en retient également de cette visibilité qu'il doit s'appuyer sur une démarche fondée sur le respect des communautés, le care et l'inclusion. Je venais de dire que si vous avez envie de nous rejoindre, il suffit de nous écrire à notre adresse mail qui s'affiche en bas de l'écran ou soit de scanner le QR code là en bas de Join Us. Et si vous le voulez, nous accorder une interview également, ce sera l'occasion. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup pour cette présentation. We now welcome on stage Dario and Marco.
Hi everyone, my name is Dario Crespi. I'm a community manager at Wikimedia Italy, and my colleague.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Wikimania. I'm Marco Camello. I'm the education manager at Wikimedia Italia and a long-time Wikipedian in residence. Today we'd like to introduce Sharing Culture, a path designed to make a partnership between Wikimedia and cultural institutions easier to sustain and scale. We often face the same problem with GLAMs. One-to-one support takes time and can reach only a few institutions. Museums, libraries, and archives may also lack technical and legal knowledge, especially about copyright and open licenses. Collaborations often stop after a single event, like an editathon, and there are not enough experienced Wikimedians available for every museum or library. One of our solutions is an open editorial toolkit released under a CC by SA license. We created these guides together with lawyers from Creative Commons Italia and the museum professionals from ICOM International. The materials are practical, adaptable, and reusable. Institutions can use them independently, and this helps them to plan Wikimedia collaborations and build longer-term projects. The toolkit does not replace direct support from us, of course. It simply makes that support more effective and easier to replicate.
We have some materials already available. The first one is just an introduction to this toolkit. The second one is a collection of guidelines and best practices to participate to our GLAM call with examples of past successful and unsuccessful projects. The third is it contains tips to share with the free license materials other than images, such as data, graphs, documents, captions, publications, videos, and so on. And the fifth is a massive online open course to teach GLAMs how to contribute to Wikimedia projects. Now we are working to other materials. For example, the first two are instructions for GLAMs to contribute to Wikimedia projects, Wikidata and Wikimedia Commons in this case. A document that shows 5 Italian case studies of GLAMs with shared open collections. And then a document that shows how to create a data management plan, which is a strategical and practical tool to help cultural institutions to document, assess, and improve their openness. There will be also other kind of materials, and you can find You can find our materials on Wikipedia, on our website, wikimedia.it, and obviously on Wikimedia Commons. And you can contact us at these emails, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Dario and Marco. We will switch again languages with Vivian, who is going to present in French.
I'll actually speak in English, if that's okay.
You decide, you decide.
Okay. So, we have a double problem of patrolling when we are with a small wiki. I am admin in Diquado, which has also a challenge because if it's a wiki for children. So there is one problem which is wasting time to come to patrol, and there is no recent changes. So I opened my smartphone and I find nothing, and I waste time for this, so useless proactivity. And sometimes there is gross vandalism that comes, so big spam, advertisement, and things like that. And for 2-3 days, I don't go to the website, and it stays like this, so that's not good. And yeah, vigilance is mandatory because the main public is children from 10 to 15 years old. So what's the solution we have found for this problem is to use AI. And because we lack resources, we lack human resources, it's a small wiki, I'm almost the only one who checks for the recent changes. And there is also the thing that it's a dictionary, so we don't want encyclopedic jargon, we don't want too long sentences and things like that. So it's a lot of work for not much, actually. So how did we do it exactly is to use pWikibot. So we have the source through MediaWiki, which is the software used by all our wikis. And pWikibot is a library in Python, which you can do a lot of things, and we use it to fetch the diffs, so fetch the recent changes, and also execute the reverts when we click on it. And then we send that to an LLM, which is the brain, which analyze the difference, the diff, and then we send it to a Discord channel, because we have a channel where the community is, so not only the patrollers, but also everyone who is interested in this wiki is there, and this permits to alert when there is a vandalism. So our bot is not like we used to have. We also have one, actually, which looks for bad words or non-French languages and things like that. But this one looks for context. And that's also a big game change, because it checks for the tone. Is the vocabulary okay for children or not? Is it too hard? Is it too long? Is it safe? Because that's also very important. So it's for every change that is now on the small wiki, we get a small report card which says if there are problems that have been found, and it suggests some concrete thing to improve it. And the important thing is the vandalism risk score. So the prompt at the end says, give me a vandalism score between 0 and 100. And we've got a threshold at 50. So at 50, I get an alert on my smartphone, which says, warning, there is something in the last 5 minutes in your wiki. So go check it, and I can, in one click, say, revert this. So it looks like that in the Discord. So you see the problems, the suggestion, and especially here, there is a vandalism score of 97%. And so, well, this is a new edit, so I don't have a revert button because it's not something that has been modified, but it's a new article. But if there is something modified, then I get this button, Revoke, which I can click on and just get back to the last version. There is also some more tools which are enabled in the Discord. Like I can just ask the bot to verify any page in the wiki by using verify and then the page that I want. I can have some stats, and I can even check for random things if I don't know what to do. So of course, everything is open source, and you can find the script on GitHub. So I invite you, if you are interested, to use it for your small wikis, to scan the QR code and make your change so it works for your wiki too, if you have to do some patrolling job in small wikis. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian, for that non-in-French presentation. Now, Signe, ready?
Thank you. 1 second.
Sure.
There we go.
Take your time. You're just with friends. It's okay.
My name is Signe Krantz, and this is my talk, Successful Advocacy in Issues Where People Find You Boring and Obnoxious. Lessons from the LGBTQ movement. I am the policy officer at Wikimedia Sweden, but before that, I was the chairwoman of Transammans, Sweden's largest trans organization. And during those 3 years, we went from an obscure organization that no one had heard of to one where politicians, journalists, and others actively contacted us, actively sought us out because they wanted to hear what we were saying. The Wikimedia movement deserves that position throughout the entire world. We need to be at the table of every discussion about AI, internet, tech, education, glam, because we have important things to say, and we are one of the safeguards of the best things about the internet. However, the current logic of media and politics is anathema to the logic of the encyclopedia, whereas the encyclopedic logic emphasizes careful deliberation and discussion about facts. The media logic and political logic is very, very fast. But I think that there are a few similarities between the LGBTQ movement and the open knowledge movement that I want to highlight and why we have similar problems. First of all, we're almost always right. Yeah. I mean, how many actors are talking about link rot, right? Second of all, speaking of link rot, we sound very pessimistic. And there is something about, like, you get tired listening to pessimistic people all the time. But that's also because we sound very technical and kind of boring, because it's complicated issues. And we have our own languages, our own terminology. That doesn't necessarily mean the same thing when we say them as like it means out in the other world. Collectively, that means that when we talk to policymakers, when we talk to politicians and people with power, they don't necessarily understand what we're talking about. And if we only have 2 or 3 minutes with them, that may not be enough time to actually explain why open license is important. Because you might have to spend 2 minutes just explaining and trying and failing to explain what open license is. But there are solutions. There are strategies that I believe help me and I believe can help the open knowledge movement as well. First of all, get out of your bubble. It's easy as a community to get stuck within the same kind of framework, the same terminology, and not hear how that sounds to others. So disseminate, go out into all of these sectors, and I know a lot of you are already doing that. Hear your argument in the ears of someone else, because then you notice what works and what doesn't. Secondly, get your story straight. Open knowledge for all is a good slogan and a great principle. However, it's incomprehensible to people who are not already within this sector. We need to explain what that means in practice. Third, take risks. We live in authoritarian times where we can take no victory and no right for granted. And it's easy then to become careful, risk adverse. However, we can't take too many steps back, or others will just score goals and goals and goals and goals against us because they feel that they have less to lose. Right now, there are 2 main stories about the internet. The first is one of innovation, endless growth, and monetizing everything. The other is increased state control, fear of the internet, and not trusting humanity with one of its greatest inventions. But I believe that there is a third path that is everything that is good and right and great about Wikipedia. And that we can stand for that third way. People are desperate for a story about the internet that reminds them of what made them fall in love with it, and it's up to us to give it to them. For those who come after, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The next presentation will be in Spanish with Patricia.
Hola, muchas gracias por poder darme esta oportunidad de hacer la presentación en español. Me voy a presentar, soy Patricia Orrillo, fundadora de Wikisfera, que es un grupo de usuarias, una comunidad feminista que estamos en España. Tenemos grupo fuerte en Madrid, pero tenemos también presencia en otras comunidades como Galicia, Aragón y Asturias. Hemos multiplicado nuestro impacto en estos últimos 2 años bastante. Os voy a hablar de un proyecto que es sobre el mundo de la zarzuela, y para eso tengo que explicar, sobre todo para la gente que no sepa qué es la zarzuela, que la zarzuela es un género lírico que tenemos en España desde el siglo XVII y que en el año 2024 se convirtió en patrimonio cultural intangible. Es un género en el que yo, honestamente, nunca había prestado atención, porque es verdad que de pequeña me lo ponían mis padres cuando yo era muy pequeña, pero no había atendido ni siquiera la posibilidad de que existiera una carencia de información en Wikipedia. Tenemos que tener en cuenta que en Wikipedia existe una gran brecha de género que tiene relación tanto con la falta de mujeres que editamos en Wikipedia como con el contenido que está relacionado, evidentemente, porque somos pocas mujeres y hay poco contenido que a lo mejor nos apela, así como representantes de diferentes temáticas. La zarzuela es uno de esos sitios, es decir, yo pensaba que precisamente porque era un lugar importante para la cultura española estaría muy bien documentado, pero ocurre que en el año 2024, cuando se la califica como patrimonio inmaterial, Francisco Prendes, que es la persona que se encarga de divulgación en el Teatro de la Zarzuela, que es la institución que nos contacta, el Teatro de la Zarzuela depende del Ministerio de Cultura y se da cuenta de que desde Wikisfera llevamos desde el año 2015 visibilizando a mujeres de muchos sectores del conocimiento, de las artes, de la ciencia, en Wikipedia, y piensan que por qué no nosotras ayudamos a que haya vamos a cerrar esa brecha de conocimiento sobre las mujeres que tanto han compuesto como han cantado zarzuela a lo largo del tiempo. Hay que pensar también que como estas mujeres, las que queremos que sean históricas, han vivido entre los siglos XVII y XIX, bueno, y XX, por supuesto, no hay tanta documentación online. Existe información, pero en hemerotecas. Existe información en archivos. Hay que ir a buscar esa información. Entonces, cuando Francisco me contacta para hacer este proyecto, yo empiezo a tener muchas dudas. No podemos hacer una editatona de 4 horas con personas que no saben editar y, además, buscarles una dificultad, que es que no hay información online. Así que diseñamos un proyecto con un curso, en principio un curso un poco informal en el año 2025, y ahora este año 2026 hemos dado el salto, hemos multiplicado impacto con Wikilearn, con un proyecto que hemos ahora diseñado para 3 meses, con un montón de temas y profundización, no solo en edición, sino también para entender qué es la comunidad que existe alrededor de Wikipedia. Y os voy a poner las métricas, un poco porque siempre es lo que parece que tiene más impacto, pero bueno, tenemos unas métricas que han sido muy interesantes para estos 2 experimentos que hemos hecho. 72 personas, pensando que la mayoría son mujeres, esto es importante para nosotras. Hemos tenido nuevas editoras y se han implicado 11 universidades, porque necesitábamos que fuera gente de universidades, gente que investiga, la que nos ayudara a visibilizar a estas mujeres. Hemos publicado, la diferencia se ve clara entre el año 2025 y el 26, cuando en el 25, sin Wikilearn, publicamos 18 artículos y ahora hemos llegado a 44. Lo digo, las métricas son interesantes, pero la visibilización, por ejemplo, de mujeres en Commons ha venido ayudada por instituciones como la Biblioteca Nacional de España, que ha liberado imágenes. Esto es fundamental. Este proyecto se basa en las 3 patas. Tiene que haber una institución pública, tiene que haber archivos, tiene que haber un grupo como Wikisfera sensibilizado con esta realidad y tiene que haber universidades que se comprometan a trabajar con nosotras para investigar y sacar a esas mujeres. Podéis buscar toda esta información del proyecto en ese QR, por supuesto en nuestra página web, y podéis venir a hablar con nosotras. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. The next presentation will be conducted by Dr. Sarah Thomas.
Once upon a time, because all good stories start with a once upon a time, a Wikimedian in Scotland fell down a rabbit hole in her home city of Glasgow. So all on one golden afternoon, in the height of a Scottish summer, she wandered close to the River Kelvin and around the campus of her old university. As she placed one foot in front of the other, she realized that there had been a time, now long since past, where she would have known every detail of every street, every building, and nearly every paving stone. In the years since she had graduated, she had become an adult out in the great wide world. She had grown. So too, she noticed, had the university. Buildings had fallen and risen. Some had changed their names. There were roads and squares where once there had been none, and everywhere around her there were cranes and construction and strange burly men in bright orange jackets. Suddenly, there came into her vision a large clock set into a flower bed. She'd seen it before, she thought. She pushed aside the grass to uncover a small plaque, which revealed that it was a piece of art called Silent Agitator by Scottish artist Ruth Ewan. If only she had access to some sort of giant online encyclopedia that could tell her more. But wait. In her pocket, she had a flat rectangular device with a button that read Wikipedia, and it said, "Click me." So click she did. And yes, she thought she'd heard of this artist before. She thought that name sounded familiar. And thus began the journey, because right then she tripped head first down a rabbit hole. And not just any rabbit hole, but a wiki rabbit hole. And my, what strange and wonderful things she would find there. She looked at the little flat rectangle again, and this time there was another button that said Wikimedia Commons, and it too said, click me. So click she did. With the help of a button called Nearby, she followed a path that she didn't recognize to a building with a strange name. Click me, cried the rectangle. So click she did. And now there was a picture on this thing called Commons where no picture had been there before. And Commons gave her all kinds of useful suggestions so that other people could understand more about this peculiar building, which went by the moniker of the University of Glasgow's Wellcome Centre for Molecular Parasitology. She found a commemorative plaque to the chemist Joseph Black, and a squat collection of different pieces of architecture that had bundled itself together to be called the Isabella Elder Building. Well, at least, she thought, the university has decided to name something else after a woman. As she followed the path suggested by the little rectangle, she was slightly disappointed to find no sign of a white rabbit declaring, "I'm late, I'm late!" But she did find a giant fiberglass dog, seemingly part of a trail of public art across the city. Thinking this dog to be a temporary exhibit and therefore possibly not covered by the UK's freedom of panorama laws, she declined to take a picture. You shall have to imagine instead this large dog, decorated from head to toe in a map of the city's underground system, known locally and lovingly as the Clockwork Orange, upon which can be found many kinds of Mad Hatters on a Saturday night. Apparently, Wikidata didn't know that name, so she decided to add it. On and on she wandered, growing curiouser and curiouser, adding this and that, following links and suggestions through this familiar and yet newly strange land where the digital met the physical, where her own knowledge and memories met with local history, both recorded and unrecorded, where she could leave her mark as a path down the rabbit hole for others to follow, and where she had now left traces of herself and her relationship with her most loved city.
Thank you very much. Lovely story. Now it's time for the next presentation with Ilario.
So, Wikipedia has gaps, everyone knows. Swiss Research Institute has good material to fill this gap. The biggest problem is not to write articles, but to identify these gaps. So I started a collaboration with these institutes, so Sapienza, University of Rome, Lib4RI, it is a collection of libraries, scientific libraries, and so I founded this project to build a tool. So right now, when we identify gaps, we work by hand. So you look repository, someone look repository, identify these gaps. So you guess to identify these gaps. But the problem is when you work with a huge repository, so 50,000 papers. In Switzerland, there is open access, so everything just now is released in open access. So this is very good material we can use. So, the question is to identify exactly with all this mass of material, to identify these gaps and to say, basically, to plan the work to say we can fill this gap with this material. I know this is very complicated pipeline. I can try to explain. It's not simple, really. I had very difficulties to understand. I had several meetings with this institute. But the most important part is to identify the same vocabulary, so the same keywords. You can compare everything if you identify good keywords that can be adapted in different contexts. How we build these keywords? Using AI. So using LLM, help to identify, to extract from this huge mass of material the keywords. Mainly to rationalize keywords. Why? Because researchers put keywords following their idea, but are very different sometimes. And this LLM helps to rationalize a bit, to extract the best keywords for this repository. In addition, only 60% of these research paper had keywords, so you had also to read the text and to identify. After there is this called the validation, after this to validate also this material, no? And to check if these keywords are good. So with this causing similarity, it's very technical, basically helps to check that really the tool has identified these keywords. After that, there is a comparison with other repositories to compact and to identify that these keywords can basically be used to compare with online resources. So in this case, there is YouTube and Archive. This comparison helps to say, okay, these keywords are good, we can compare these keywords, can go online, and we go with, for instance, Google Trend to make this comparison. Okay. This is basically to check the quality of this material. And finally, with one keyword, it's possible to compare everything. So at the end of this tool, basically, the question is to say what people are looking online, what we offer, and what this repository has. And comparing using the same keywords is possible to have an analysis of that and to check in which material can be integrated in this in Wikimedia project.
Thank you very much, Ilario. Well, stay with me. You were the last one. I invite all the presenters to come on stage for our next round of applauses. I'm pretty sure you all learned a lot about all the aspects of our wikis and our ecosystem. So I'd like to thank you all for presenting. Please come with me. And I hope that you learned a lot from all of them. We will take a small group photo. And yeah, it will be time for the break. Say hi for the photo. Oh, we need to shift a little bit. Yeah, we do whatever we can, you know. Yeah, we are many. All right, look in front of you. Look in front of you.